Tonight's show is brought to you by Ventura Training and Athletics. Restore, train, maintain. Specializing in the restoration of the muscular system to help you move and feel better. Combating TBI, PTSD, and pain through specialized strength. Tonight's show is brought to you by Ventura Training and Athletics. Restore, train, maintain. Specializing in the restoration of the muscular system to help you move and feel better. Combating TBI, PTSD, and pain through specialized strength training. Again, get your body right, get your mind right, defeat the demons.
This is the Veteran Trash Talk Hour, hosted by Nick, Dave, Joe, and Buddy. Today's special guest is Andrew Nobel, a former Army fueler that somehow got wounded.
One Bravo, wheel vehicle mechanic, and get in my truck.
Hey, they said they can't hear us on Gruntworks. So
Okay.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
What I do is, when I got out, I was medically retired.
Actually,
TBI.
let's pause. Let's pause for a little bit. Sorry, Chris. It's fixed. All right, let's roll. Sorry, guys, for the audio. Let me do the intro again. Hey, Gruntworks, thanks for all the tips that the audio was out. Our Asian, we'll punish him. He's not on the screen, but we'll hit him with a bamboo stick or something after the show. Again, we started this a year ago. Gruntworks Nation that's watching for the first time, just for our own therapy. A bunch of grunts on here talking shit. So then we turn it into, hey, let's get some veterans on here that know great things in the vet community, veteran-owned businesses, entrepreneurs, etc. And let's blow them all up. Let's get them all successful. So again, here's Anthony. Anthony was in the Army. He's going to talk about his service. Pleasure having you on. Cheers, brother.
Appreciate it, gentlemen. Anyways, like I said, I was a 91 Bravo, wheel vehicle mechanic, wrecker operator. And then I got medically retired due to PTSD and TBI. I think I sent one of you the picture where I scalped myself. Yeah, that was a mortar attack, and I was working under a truck. Went to slide out from under the truck, and the Army always puts the least important shit in the most inconvenient spots. And that was a data plate that actually dug into my head, and it went all the way down to my skull. Then a couple times busted up on missions and crap like that. But I got medically retired because of PTSD and TBI and my back. And I knew I wasn't done helping people. So I came home, tried to figure out what it was I wanted to do with my life. And I ended up going back to school, got my degree in human services, my bachelor's. I'm going to start my master's program here in a few months, do a master's in social work. Currently work for Kern County as a job developer and I straddle between two different departments, the Employers Training Resource and Current Patriot Partnership. And my goal is to help get veterans in careers. 'Cause I mean, yeah, a lot of us, when we get out, yeah, we got that VA rating and all that crap. But sitting on the couch, it kind of becomes detrimental to the mental health of veterans. And when I got out, I didn't have a mission. I didn't have a direction to go, and started drinking even more than I was before I got out. And yeah, it was kind of a bad gig. I sobered up and, like I said, went to school, and this is where I'm at now.
Well, cheers for you. Cheers to you, brother, for continuing to challenge yourself even when they didn't put something in front of you. That's a lot. That's an advantage a lot of people don't have. So, cheers, brother. It takes a lot of hard work.
Yeah, we talked about it pre-show. This is our second guest in a row who's been sober and for some time now, and we applaud that. We are sponsored by 10th Mountain Bourbon, so we do drink on the show. But again, if alcohol is your demon and it causes you to do terrible things and you can't get to where you need to be, again, don't do it. Cut it out. All right. So cheers on your sobriety. How long have you been sober? And then tell us where people can find you and how they can get jobs through you and what kind of work you're doing.
Well, I've been sober. See, my daughter's birthday is Tuesday. So I've been sober 9 years. And yeah,
brother.
Due to mostly my drinking, but also poor diet, I ended up in the hospital in 2013. And I got medevac down to LA. And the first time I watched my daughter walk was I was laying in my hospital bed. And that cemented it that I needed to, get my shit back in a row, tighten up my shot group and set the right example for her. So if you need to get a hold of me, I don't give a shit. I mean, yeah, I'm supposed to only be working with local veterans, but if you want me to look over your resume or whatever, shoot me an email at nobelan@kerncounty.com. I'll send you guys a picture of my business card later so you can post it. And also with Current Patriot Partnership, we have a lot of influence when it comes to employing veterans here in Kern County, but we can help with a lot of out-of-state employment. Like we can figure out where you need to go. And if you're applying for any city, county, state, or federal job, fill out the paperwork for your veterans preference. They go on kind of a point system, and that like here in California, that's automatically 10 points. And 10 points can make or break somebody. You give first pick, first look. I'm partnered up with a Navy veteran who actually works for the state, and him and I are constantly sharing jobs and sharing resumes saying, hey, I got these candidates for that job you posted, or, hey, I got this job. You got any candidates for me? And let's see, I've been employed with the county for about 3 months now. I've gotten 6 placements, and I'm working on my second OJT contract, which in the state of California, if you hire veterans, your company gets, I believe it's a cut on taxes or something like that. And with the OJT, we have the chance to reimburse the company up to 400 or 50% of the hourly wages up to 480 hours. And last year with the OJT contracts, we reimbursed local companies I think it was like 1.2 million.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Hmm.
Anthony,
Wow.
Anthony, let me cut you off real quick. When you say helping out veterans, what job field are we pushing them into, or what do you see the most? Is it a variety, or are there certain jobs that you're like, yeah, we're pushing the most of veterans into those jobs? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah. Well, here in Kern County, we're mostly an ag and oil county. And of course, solar is picking up really good. So I try to get my veterans into training courses to become electricians so they can go to be a part of the union and get these big government contracts. Two of the companies that I work with a lot, they're earthworking companies. So you see the big scrapers and dozers and all that crap. And the two foremen that I work with, as long as you're trainable and you don't come in with this, I'm a veteran, bow down to me mentality, they'll train you.
Yeah.
And one of my foremen, he's Navy, might be a Marine vet. He didn't serve during wartime.
They're both the same. They work for each other. Marines work for them.
Yeah.
I don't know if
One's
we
a
know that.
taxi service.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand that the Marines.
Maybe
are
it's a taxi
actually
service
under-
to the Marines. Yeah.
Hey,
Yes.
Clint,
Well,
Clint
the
and Chris
boss.
were
It's like
Marines,
if
I
the
think.
Uber driver was
Or
also your
sailors.
boss.
Correct.
Are you a sailor or are you Marine? Like Marine? Yeah. Okay. Doesn't matter.
Same thing.
But go ahead.
Same
Sorry.
thing.
Yeah. Same.
Oh, no, you guys are good.
Yeah.
But Dave, what he's talking about, in case you're not familiar, and Buddy might be, but I'm in construction. Those you're not going to get rich, but you can make a very, very good living as a union electrician.
Oh yeah.
And North Carolina is the same way, Anthony. They do that 5 or 10 point scale.
Yep.
I know even the post office does that.
Yeah. It's mandated federally.
Yeah, and then they get the tax breaks here also.
Yeah, I think when you go to a state level job, I think it varies state to state.
Yeah, but that's good money.
Anthony,
union electrician.
Yeah, real quick, Anthony, does the discharge of that veteran matter in regards to the application for some of these jobs, or how do you look at it when you're pushing them? Discharge can be different. It can be a completely honorable discharge, good to go, but other discharges are there.
Yeah,
so
yeah. If you were a fuck up, could you still get a job?
Yep. Nick.
Eloquent
put, Nick. Very good.
I'm a firm believer in second chances and sometimes even third chances. And I've got friends down at the Veteran Service Office that if their discharge can be upgraded, I'll push and I'll advocate for them, because like I said, sitting on the couch, that's pretty detrimental. And most guys, when they get out and they get a dishonorable discharge, they're young guys. They think they're the talk of the walk, and they realize that, oh, hey, I don't got the biggest dick on deck. So,
yeah.
Is that another Navy term?
Hey, let's call it what it is. Since that's the mission. Idle time is a precursor for suicide, and that is the one thing that he has to have to make that happen, because like we've always said, no one ever does this in a room full of their brothers, so that isolation and that free time to where they've got to have a challenge to feel useful.
Yeah.
And
we have a local Facebook group called Bakersfield Vets. When I was working just straight for Ronald McDonald House, I was working part-time, and I started a handyman business just to keep me busy. And a lot of vets would be like, hey, I need somebody to come help me fix drywall or this, that, the other. And, I'd go over and I'd fix it for them. And more importantly, I'd teach them how to fix it, because,
Yep.
a lot of guys and gals, are new homeowners, and they don't know how to do simple things like fix drywall, fix a leaky faucet, stuff like that. And that's built an even tighter knit group of this Facebook group that we have, that there's 3 or 4 of us that are kind of a QRF that somebody can throw a flag up and say, hey, it's a bad day, and it doesn't matter what time of day or night it is. At least 2 of us are on station within 15 minutes to get help, and it can simply end with us just hanging out for the night, or we'll drive up to Fresno or down to LA and get them checked into the VA hospital.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Anthony. Yeah, we'll have to put that link out on our page as well. We had a 37,000 group going viral, and then Facebook took it off. You knew that, but we're going to build it back up. We're going to come back 5 times stronger as soon as we go public. But you were telling us an interesting story. You were talking about how you get guys licenses and teaching them how to do basic things. You were telling us a funny story pre-show, and tell us about your UCMJ experience and how that went for you. And tell us what, because us grunts, we hate when somebody tells us that's operator level, right? Like, because it's like, what? Like, no.
Well, hey, you guys break the simple shit. We're trying to get shit that has to go out on the road tonight. You can fix the simple shit.
Well, tell us about that. Tell us about operator level and what happens when a captain wants
Tell us what unit you were in as well. Tell us what unit you were in.
Okay. I was in, at the time I was in 168 BSB. We deployed out of Fort Sill, Oklahoma to Camp Victory or Liberty or whatever. I don't know. They were across the river from each other. So screw them. They're the same thing. But, I had this captain from, he had a first cav patch on come down. And he's like, hey, he was talking to my soldier. I just got my E5. And he's talking to my soldier. He's like, hey, I need you to replace the headlight. My soldier came over, was like, hey, this is what I got going on. This is what he wants me to do. What the fuck do I do? I said, don't worry. I got it. Go back, do what you're doing. I walk out there and it's like, hey, how can I help you, sir? Being courteous, following all the customs and courtesies. He's like, well, I told your soldier to fix the headlight on my Humvee. And I was like, okay, is that going out tonight? He goes, no, it's my fob runner. Gotcha. Easy. That's all right, sir. Well, 3 things come into play now. 1, that's your fob runner. It's not mission essential equipment. 2, that's operator level maintenance. So
that's a bad word to us.
And you can fix it. Most importantly, 3, you're in my motor pool and you're telling my soldier what to do. You're not in my chain of command. So it's either you fix it or there's the gate to my motor pool. See ya.
So you were a real dick about it.
Yeah. No,
to be fair, he was.
That's coming from an infantryman who's argued with mechanics to the point of there was spit flying on each other's uniforms, and we almost rolled around in the rocks. So I'm just being funny.
I take it as looking out for my soldier, because I had some NCOs that would throw you under the bus quicker than shit, and it was like, I'm not going to be that NCO. I'm not going to forget where I came from.
Yeah.
He started yelling at me, and I was like, well, bye. There's the gate. Go find somebody else. And he's like, oh, I want to speak to the NCO I see. I was like, you're speaking to him. Everybody else is at lunch right now.
Let me go grab him.
Right. He goes, so wait, what officer's in charge here? I was like, CW5 May. He goes, well, I want to talk to him. I was like, all right, cool. Come on. So I walk in Chief's trailer and I was like, hey, Chief, this cat wants to talk to you. And Chief was always behind his desk asleep. But, hey, he's a CW5. He was probably Jesus' drill instructor, so I wasn't going to get on him.
It's impressive to me that you even knew what he did. I've never seen one in the wild.
Actually, Chief was pretty cool. Chief May and Chief Cheek were, they were top notch. They cared about their soldiers. So, but I was like, hey, and I kicked his desk and I was like, Chief, this captain wants to talk to you. And this captain lost his shit. You talk to a warrant officer 5 that way, blah, blah, blah. I was like, sir, calm down, please. And Chief stood up and he's like, hey, how can I oh shit, Noble, what'd you do? No, I don't. Damn it. And the captain started jumping on my chief about addressing me just by my last name. And I was just like, whatever. So he didn't get anywhere with Chief May, because Chief May was like, well, my soldier's in the right, you're in the wrong. So there's the gate to the motor pool. Well, the captain skipped over the company level and went straight to battalion level. And at the time, our sergeant major was Command Sergeant Major Riviera, something like that. He was a Puerto Rican. And if you called him a Mexican, oh man, you were fucked up. He would fuck you up for days.
Yeah, they don't like that very much.
Well,
we used to tell Doc Esser that he was flying the state flag of Puerto Rico when he was flying the Texas flag, and he'd almost come to blows about it. He did not like that one bit.
I wish I had thought about something like that.
Fucking state flag of Texas, Brisbane, shut up.
Yeah.
But
so
yeah,
what happened with the UCMJ?
Yeah, who won?
The captain.
Yeah,
up,
that's the way it works.
Yeah, that's the way it works. Unfortunately, so I got a field grade, went back down to PFC, and
Field grade, man, they went all out.
God bless. Who'd you piss off?
But did you have to?
There's gotta be more than a story. Did you hear
the story? Did you fix this headlight though?
Fuck no.
There you go. That's a win. It's a fucking win because NCO promotions you get like an extra $60 a month, so it's okay.
It.
Like it's worth it. You keep that 120 Army, and you take it. And like I'm not fixing that damn headlight. Hey, that's great. I want to give a shout out. I doubt Jackson's watching, but the mechanics at our patrol base on our first deployment, where Buddy wasn't at all, where we were in constant contact, rocketed mortar twice a day.
I drove by there on the way out to the combat where I was going to.
Oh, okay, yeah, big combat.
On your way to the green beans with the
on your way to the green bean coffee.
Yeah.
No, the green bean was right where I was located. I had to drive by you to.
You believe these assholes are out of fillet of fish at the McDonald's?
Yeah,
that was said, Anthony, on Buddy's deployment. That was said.
It was true. We all heard it. Anyways,
wait, what?
No, it's okay, buddy.
Don't you play dumb with me?
10% true. Yeah, you took the bus on the bus route on your big base. Anyways, shout out to the mechanics. Okay,
I had a one headlight bob runner.
Yeah, those guys were constantly working.
When we call people
pogues,
right. When we call people pogues, it's an acronym. All right, it's personnel other than grunt. Okay, it could be an insult. It's kind of like the word fuck. It depends on how you use it. All right. And but when these mechanics are out there, like Anthony talked about, getting his skull bashed in during a mortar attack, these guys aren't out there necessarily in the fight, but they're fixing all these vehicles to get them ready for us. And all of a sudden rockets and mortars start coming in. Right. That's not fun. Okay. That's not cool. And they're out there all day, all night.
I was gonna say, not to mention if their spot gets zeroed and they're out there and you're in mortar contact, those guys are in as much danger as anybody. If you look at percentage of the day that they're in range to get hit, because they were out there out back. That place would have got destroyed if they ever hit it.
Yeah, so we come back and we talked about this on one of our earlier episodes about like PTSD and stress. Suicide rate amongst veterans. There's that shitty veteran, and it's usually a combat arms guy that's like, oh, what the fuck did you see? It's like maybe he didn't see the shit that you saw in the combat, but he was working 15, 16, 20-hour days. Oh, and then by the way, a rocket might fucking land on you today while you're fucking working on a truck.
Not to mention
actually,
go ahead, Anthony.
Hey, the genius is who's cleaning the blood, guts, and buttholes out of those trucks when they come back blown up? That isn't operator level maintenance.
Hey, and how about you want to call somebody a pogue or they as an insult because they're a wrecker operator? Talk to the wrecker operator on the day we lost Kasur, and you ask him if he saw any combat. You remember Robichaud? You guys remember him?
For sure.
I mean, he made it. He made it, but I mean, compound fracture, tib, fib, humerus, radius. I think he lost the eye, but I mean, it was almost like, and I'm not making
July
light
7th.
of it, but it was almost like Two-Face. And I'm not saying that for any reason, but it caught him on one side, and the other side was good, but he made it. But yeah, he was out there when they were just waiting on him to come out there and pull the truck out, and they set the other one off. So it was, I mean, Anthony, I mean, if you're pulling one out,
it sucks. And it sucks even more when you're hooking up to a truck that you know that there's still bodies in it, and you have to load and unload that, and all of a sudden they lost the door during the explosion, and all of a sudden somebody's body just lops out to the side. And I mean, that's not, we had an SOP that there were certain people that would handle the bodies because they were trained to do it or whatever. I didn't give a fuck. That was somebody that could have been to my right and my left. When I raised my right hand, run over there and shove him back in the truck. And I don't know if you guys know anything about a Hemet wrecker.
Oh yeah.
But okay, so on the work deck you have the two toolboxes on either side, and then your oxygen acetylene set up, and there's a small walk space. I mean, we've put pieces of bodies and whole bodies up there just to make sure that they made it home. I mean, I understand coming from, because I've got friends that are grunts and we always bust each other's balls, but there's, at the end of the day, there's that respect that we know what each other has done and what each other potentially saw and had to deal with. And
100%, man.
I mean, and me being a veteran, that's part of the reason why they brought me onto this team, was because a lot of guys or a lot of veterans won't put down certain things on resumes because there's such a negative stigma surrounding PTSD, or if you put down certain deployment zones like Fallujah, Corango Valley, stuff like that, stuff that was really advertised, well, sorry, not advertised, but publicized in the news, people automatically get pinned with that stigma. And speaking veteran to veteran, you hear what is said, but more importantly, you hear and see the things that aren't said. And my boss is like, hey, dude, we got another vet come in. I want you to sit down. And typically our intakes take 35 minutes on a slow day. I'll spend 2-3 hours sitting there talking with them. And it's just to make sure that I'm trying to get them put in the right placement, so there isn't a chance of, I mean, I've seen some guys that have stupid bad PTSD that you even clap next to them without them knowing, and they're curled up on the floor, damn near shitting themselves. And I want to make sure, like, I'm not going to throw them in an industrial job. Right. I'm not going to throw them like out in equipment, being, running a scraper. That shit's loud. And it's just, I don't know.
It takes, go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And like I said before, you said that, like, this is the therapy that we started, that we wanted to, to talk about that kind of stuff. And we're trying to change the stigma where, you might think you're tough for not talking about it, but it's tougher to talk about it. And it's tougher to come together as buddies and, kill those demons together. And like I said a couple of shows ago, a while ago, that if you're that asshole veteran that, is like, oh, I was a grunt, so screw you, you bring us down. You bring our whole community down. You bring, it does a disservice to all your battle buddies. And you were probably that guy that got the whole platoon smoked all the time. And not because you were funny, but because you were just a jackass. All right. So thanks for sharing that and coming on the show. I know it's going to help somebody who's watching. All right. It's going to help. That helped me, because it made Joe bring up Kasor. Kasor was a good buddy of mine, and it's just, it sucks. It sucks when you have to, relive that day, rethink those days. But again, when you're talking about it with your buddies,
different story. Yeah,
it's a whole different story, and we celebrate Kasor, and we celebrate his life and, the service that he did to his country. He's a California boy as well from up Northern California.
San Jose Sharks.
Before we turn it over to Buddy, because we kind of got a little depressive and dark there, but just fine, because that's what we're here for. Before we turn it over to Buddy, Joe, what were you going to say?
Oh, no, I was just like what Anthony was talking about how those intakes take a couple hours and stuff. I mean, it's brilliant what you're doing, because to actually get those guys to open up, it takes a minute. And even if you're a veteran, if they're a veteran that needs help, you better be personable or they're not talking to you. Even if you are a veteran. So, I mean, the way you're doing that is, that's awesome, because I guarantee you they don't get the same treatment from anybody else. And I just want to say thank you for going there. And I know that stuff's not easy to talk about, but like Nick said, you give somebody the, give them a little bit of hope that, hey, man, we all got our demons, that made them feel a little bit more normal, whatever that means. But thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, cheers, Anthony.
Thanks for coming on, Anthony. Yeah. So, Buddy. Yeah, so, hey, stick around. Listen to Buddy. He's a wild card. Gruntworks Nation, those of you that have not watched our show yet, Buddy is a special forces guy, right? So he's cool.
Buddy, are you drunk yet? Are you drunk yet, Buddy?
And
what are you talking about? I don't know. Are you?
Becky's Odyssey cap, who's slamming cordial out of a mason jar. It's pretty legit. So what do you got there? Or is that iced tea? Anyways.
First of all, this is apple pie moonshine.
Oh, and nice. So this should be lit.
I was drinking it out of some China from my last marriage. From my last marriage. Yeah. Because I'm classy as shit. Anywho.
Let's go, buddy.
Becky's Odyssey cap.
Jesus. Hold on. There we go.
Jesus, take the phone and drive.
Calm down. Calm. Jesus has the wheel, guys. Anywho, so I was actually kind of struggling this week to figure out what I was going to do my honesty cap on. Not because there's not a lot going on, but just because there's so much insanity in the world. I was thinking about cancel culture and like how when you turn your back on somebody because they make one fucking mistake, you're kind of like that dickhead in like the platoon that like was a great dude. And then he got in trouble, got a field grade for fucking telling a captain to go fuck himself. And then you're like, oh, I don't want to hang out with him anymore. Because then they might think that I'm also a fucking shut the fuck up, nerd. Like, just keep hanging out with your boys. They fuck up every now and then. It's not their fault. But I settled on one thing this morning. I went to Walmart today because today is cook all the meals for the rest of the weekday for the kid and I. And I went to Walmart. I'm walking around. And I start seeing people they're not wearing a mask. They're wearing 2 or 3 fucking masks. And I'm thinking
that's what Dr. Fauci told you to do.
What the fuck is going on? But then I realized.
Unless you're at a Cubs game.
It's a thing. The CDC has put out. And I'm thinking this is where the honesty cap comes in. I'm pretty sure that we are all of the butt of a fucked up ass joke. Like people are like their bets being made on fucking Americans. Like, who got all the entire United States to wear fucking masks, bro?
All 3 of them.
I bet you won't do 4. I bet you won't do 4.
I bet you won't do fucking a 10 masker.
You guys aren't gonna believe this, man. Fauci got him to wear 3. You guys all know Fauci about 3. He got him to wear 3.
I bet you
fucking believe that shit.
I bet you $4 fucking I get him to wear 5 fucking masks, bro. By next week. By next fucking week. hey, put out that there's like 8 more strains of fucking coronavirus, man. This shit's lasted forever. What in the fuck are we doing at some point? When are we going to pull our head out of our ass and go, wait a second? If it was that contagious, I'd have caught that shit like 10 times by now and be dead as fuck. But instead, I had like kind of a cough a few months ago and I'm still fine. Like, what the fuck are we protecting ourselves against? Anyway, that's all I got. That's all I got, guys.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for the four mask update. That was
beautiful.
good.
It was incredible.
It was awesome. So now we'll go over to Trigger Joe. Joe, if you don't have a haiku prepared for us, then please share what triggered you.
Hey, Kevin, are you listening? I sure hope so. All right, listen, boys. This morning, me and our Scottish warrior, our favorite little cue ball, Kevin Travers, went out looking for a rocker glider for Mama. You know, baby's coming. And Kevin's taking the chair and a half that I have, and I'm swapping it. So we're running around, and we're using Kevin's truck. And, I'm like gauging the time, and everything's good. And we get on the freeway, and I'm like, all of a sudden, all of the emergency checklists pop up in my head. I'm thinking, okay, call Maya. Do we have AAA? Like, we got to be running out of gas. We have got to be running out of gas. He's doing 53. He's got a full tank. And he's doing 53 miles an hour on the freeway. Kevin Travers actually drives below the speed limit on the freeway.
The fuck's wrong with him?
Kevin, are you listening?
Kevin, he's on the thread. He can explain himself.
He's like, Joe, what's the hurry? He's like, Joe, what's the hurry? I was like, I don't know. The 19,000 cars behind you might have something to say about it. But I'm telling you, that man and I are going to Florida next weekend in that truck. And I might need to go to the therapist and get a Xanax or 2 and just knock out for the ride, because it literally is going to be like driving Miss Daisy. I'm going to have to ask Kevin, are we losing power? Like, what's going on? But Kevin, seriously, you need to find the gas. Drive faster.
He's driving right now as he's chatting.
If he's driving now, he left my house and it's a half-hour ride and he's been driving for an hour.
Well, he's driving really slow, so he's able to text and drive at the same time. So that's why he does that. Anyway, that's a little bit of that Southern culture that good old Alabama Beck knows about. It's like, no, ain't nobody in a hurry.
I looked over. I said 53.
Unless you're running moonshine. Unless you're running moonshine, and or on a dirt road. So again, the dirt roads is because the North, buddy, is better than you, and we kicked the shit out of you in a war, and then Sherman burnt your whole fucking South down, and then like. You still got dirt roads. But anyways, you drive real fast on them.
Have you been to Minnesota?
Yeah, I've been to Minnesota. Anyways, remember, that's a whole different ball of wax. We can open that some other time. Well, thanks, Trigger Joe. That was nice. But
Kevin's.
I am listening, Joe.
Dude. Kevin's a good dude. All right, I love Kevin to death, but I could not freaking believe it. I saw 53, and he is humming away to the music, and I'm like, 53? We're going 53 on the freeway. Yeah. I was stunned.
You want to piss off a Southerner, you just tell him Jeff Gordon's the best NASCAR driver of all time. And then that's just, that fucking Yankees from California. Yeah,
Nick, do you remember that dude named Breakbush?
No, I remember this story you're going to tell. Yes, go ahead.
About his buddy?
Yeah.
I'll tell it real quick. His buddy came down to visit him at Bragg, okay? He had a
North
shirt
Carolina, where NASCAR was started, right up the goddamn road.
And so, I'm not sure exactly what it said, but it said something to the effect of number 3 got what he deserved.
Oh, shit.
And Breakbush said, listen, man, I'm not going out with you wearing that shirt. We're in North fucking Carolina, man. That ain't gonna fly. Yeah. And his buddy's like, no big deal. And he's like, all right, man, if you get into it with somebody, you're on your own. And his buddy kind of laughed it off. And sure enough, first bar they walked into, dude with a beard like Anthony, he's about 6.5 feet tall, walks up and taps him on the shoulder, goes, hey, bud. you better have another shirt in the car or get the out of here. And Breakbush said, he goes, I turned around and said, I told you so. And he goes, I hear my buddy goes, it's no big. Turn around, my buddy's on the ground going.
Got lit up.
Knocked out cold.
Yeah,
they do not play about Dale Earnhardt in North Carolina.
Yeah, it kind of brings up a good point about assimilating to the culture that you move to, right? So if us military guys, if we want to have a good time, right, we try whenever we move, you try to do the things from the local area that, maybe help you assimilate and have a good time, right? So when I got down to North Carolina, Georgia, all those areas, I was like, the hell are some of these people talking about, but again, you could be a douchebag and be like, well, this is the way I roll. Or you could just try to learn some new things, right? Learn some new things, be a better person for it.
Adapt.
Yeah, exactly. Like I didn't really hunt. I was, born in a suburb, I didn't really hunt at all. Right. And then when I got down to Florida as an RI, like all the guys hunted there. So guess what? I tried hunting. Right. It was fun. I learned some stuff. Right. And I was the butt of many jokes. And we could talk about that on a different show. But let's get into what Buddy was talking about a little bit, because yes, people have died of COVID. Okay. Lots of people. All right. And again, this whole hashtag science movement, all you dumb motherfuckers who don't know what science actually is, right? You're supposed to question it, right? Now, you're not supposed to be a moron.
In a white lab coat.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be a moron and question something that you don't know, right? You're supposed to prove something right by continuously doubting it. That's what science is, right? So when a scientist says something, he's actually hoping that his peers challenge him, right? He's hoping that somebody comes up with a better freaking way to do it. So you can keep that hashtag science shit, because guess what? Apparently we cured the flu. All right. The flu killed like 15,000 people last year. It usually kills like 70. All right. Do you know what happened? They didn't die of the flu this year. They died of fucking COVID. All right. It is a dangerous thing. And that brings me up to my first point in the book of Earl, right? Is the whole vaccine. Right. And I'm getting pretty sick. And yes, if you're in the Army, all right, I'm still active duty. Come find me. I work at Nickel Co. All right. Like, stop saying you're a leader from the front because you took a fucking vaccine. All right. Like, who gives a shit? All right. The Army is giving you the ability to not accept it. Why? Hold on, buddy. You had your fucking chance. All right. Hold on. I will call on you. I will call on you.
They call me triggered.
All right. So, yeah, like I am triggered right now, Joe. This is what my whole book of Earl is about. I got triggered this week. All right. I keep seeing these. Look at me leading from the front. Like, got a shot. All right. Well, guess what? One time we were doing SRP at the Center of the Universe, Fort Bragg, back at Bragg, right? For WTF watching. Spanky, if you're watching, back at Bragg, Ice, Anyways, I got paid $45 to give my blood because I had all the anthrax shots and vaccines. Do you know? And they're like, do you want the results of that? And I was like, yeah, sure. Why not? I got beer money. I was at E5, $45 got me a lot of beer, right? It was awesome. I was part of a batch that was causing Parkinson's disease, right? There was 3 batches of the anthrax vaccine, 2 in the 82nd, 1 at 10th Mountain, that possibly could give you Parkinson's. All right. Now, obviously, I didn't get it, but they rushed that vaccine out. All right. And there were some mistakes with it. Okay. Now, the Army made me take it. Fine, whatever. Do what you got to do. All right. The Army isn't making you take this vaccine now because it's still in trials. All right. Y'all understand that shit? So when you're saying, hey, we all need to vaccinate. No, we all don't right now. I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but I am not taking a vaccine for something that won't kill me or the people around me, or that's still in trials. Okay. I'm not a bad leader for not taking it. In fact, I'm a better leader for explaining it that if you're fucking finding a way to get a vaccine right now because you're scared of what the media is telling you, and you're taking it away from a guy who's in phase 1 Bravo, phase 1 Charlie. Those are all science, hashtag science categories that should get the fucking vaccine, right? If you're not in one of those categories and you're found a way to get a fucking stage 3 level trial fucking vaccine, all right, you're a bad person. All right. You are taking that vaccine away from somebody who could fucking die from COVID. right? So how about we give them that vaccine? Before I get to my point two, buddy, what do you got?
Literally was about to quote you from what you said the other day about if you're getting the vaccine and you don't need it, you're a fucking thief. You are. You're a murderer. You're a piece
You're a
of shit.
murderer.
And you should go fuck yourself. Also, last time I checked, being a leader wasn't defined as doing what was personally easy or good for you. It was doing what you thought was right. If you don't think being a fucking guinea pig and making your privates be a guinea pig is right, then opt out. That's what I did. Because I'm going to wait about a year and let's see what the rest. If motherfuckers start growing dicks or fucking ears out of their fucking neck, I'm going to be like, man, I'm glad I didn't take that. I mean, if they grow a dick, I might take it. Because,
Yeah, because especially if it's a big
coming,
one.
hey,
So
let me throw this out there. There's a good discussion. It's coming a lot faster than a year, though.
all right. So now when
What are you
when
going to do when it comes in 3 months and you need to get it?
when it clears all those trials, right?
when
and
what
then-
comes in 3 months?
The
Yeah,
vaccine?
when what? The vaccine's here already, Dave.
When
So-
it comes to you and you're told you need to get it in 3 months.
No, they don't have
order
to.
you to get it.
No, they're not. They're not going to order us to get it until it gets approved. 100%. All right.
All right.
So it's
We'll
against
bet on
the
that.
Constitution.
We'll bet on that.
Anyways,
They already,
I'll bet you $1 million, Dave. Dave, I'll bet you $1 million.
we can-
They're not going to change
None
the
of us have
Constitution.
$1 million, so.
Dave,
No, exactly. So you can pay me for
Dave.
the rest of your life with that shit. That's a
Yeah,
conspiracy. Arizona fucking aliens flying all over the place. When
you
when
know
the
what would be
vaccine
different?
when the
They
vaccine
can't.
shut
They
up, buddy.
can't. They can't order you. To
Trying to help
when
you
the-
out, Nick.
When the
Dave,
vaccine clears
You can literally
FDA
go back
trials.
to-
Anthony, I apologize.
Trigger.
I apologize, Anthony.
Well,
I
right,
apologize
Dave, we
for
get
being
triggered by. We
childish.
talked about this.
Don't worry
We
about
talked
But yes,
about
Joe,
this.
the Army can absolutely order you to get it, just like they order us to get the flu shot. The only person that can tell you, hey, you're not
Nick,
getting
did
No,
you get
they
the- Nick,
can't,
did you get-
Dave.
Nick,
It's a
did you get the
fucking
anthrax
regulation
shot?
from the Constitution. They cannot regulate a vaccine until it has passed the fucking FDA trials.
somebody.
All right?
Okay.
It
Well,
hasn't done that yet. It hasn't done that
In
yet.
the next 2-3 months.
I had
see
to take the
somebody
Asian.
coming on down
I
there.
had to take the Asian bird flu vaccine, right? For what fucking reason? I don't know, but it cleared trials, so I fucking they stuck it in my
see
arm. I
somebody-
didn't have a say on
I
it.
see somebody down there.
Hey, you know what?
So-
Let's take this malaria drug that makes you come home and kill your wife. That one.
Right.
Let's do
That's
that one,
hey,
Dave. We
that's
can talk
awesome.
about
Hey,
it.
or
Let's-
or
We've
you
already
could
fucking-
if you get the clap, if you get the clap, you could just polish that off too because it's the same shit. Anyways, again, I'm not going to take the vaccine
I wish I had my
Until-
triggered shirt on.
until the army.
Wait.
You keep saying trigger, Dave, but we already admitted it. So get on to a new joke. All right. Second part of this, Buddy brought up a good point. The cancel culture. Okay. There's a lot of shit going on about the chick from Mandalorian, right?
Gina Carano.
Where, right. So
Don't forget Morgan Wallen.
Bill, you sneak in here like that and don't turn
I think he
your
did,
camera
but he
on?
doesn't even
Where
turn
are
his
you?
fucking camera on. So don't worry
Turn
about it.
your
We'll get the
camera on,
bill
Bill.
later. All
I
right?
heard you.
Here's the thing about the cancel culture, and I'll bring up the bell curve again. Those of you who don't get it, hashtag science, right?
Bill, I know
Okay,
you're listening.
There's the left and right. There's the left and right. Okay, there's fucking stupid, crazy people on each side. Okay, so when you hear the far right cry about this chick getting fired from Disney, all right, they're pretty much turning into socialists by saying we should not let a fucking company do what it wants to do. Okay, in a free society, guess who signed her paycheck? Fucking Disney did. Okay. Disney has things in their contracts that says you aren't going to do this. All right. Or we fire you. Every job has that.
Yeah. Hey, Nick,
Okay?
look, I'm a
So-
bell curve.
Yeah, you are a bell curve. Exactly. All right. So don't be on Joe's left or right hand. All right. Because you
You
start
guys?
getting triggered.
You want to be somewhere
You
around the
don't
top
have
of the
the
head.
common sense.
Right here in the
You
middle.
don't have the common sense.
Asshole.
Joe, shut the
Asshole.
fuck up. Anyways, don't fucking start crying about her getting fired. Okay. She got fired because she was tweeting some shit that Disney didn't like. Guess what happens when you use social media and you start saying shit that your organization doesn't like? All right. They're going to fire your ass too. All right. And it's my freedom of speech. It's a private company, dude. Like they're allowed to fire your ass.
Freedom,
The last
freedom doesn't release you from consequences of decisions.
Yeah, they're not allowed to kill. They're not allowed to
Yeah,
kill you.
yeah.
That's freedom of speech. They don't have to keep you hired.
Right. And fight for your own personal shit. Right. So like, she could fight for her personal shit all she wants. She could go, get a lawyer, which I'm sure she is, and she could do that. That's her right. But it's Disney's fucking right to fire her because they don't agree with her shit. Okay? So what? Don't care. All right, get over that shit. Last thing. Talk about being great. And Buddy kind of brought it up, where a good leader does what's hard, all right, not what's easy, all right? And when you're placed into a position of leadership, you have followers, okay? And whether you're a good leader or not, there's a little diagram you can learn, right? If you don't got buy-in in the leader, get a new leader. All right. If you don't have buy-in in the leader and the vision, get a new leader, get a new vision. All right. If you got buy-in in the vision and kind of quasi, get a new fucking leader. All right. It's that simple. But to be great at anything, you have to sacrifice. All right. You have to sacrifice. So when you're sitting there whining about your life, when you're sitting there wondering why somebody else might have it better than you, because you don't know them anyways, but you just think they're better than you. All right. Write down on a piece of paper what you're willing to sacrifice. Okay. And then go find out if what you want to be great at is going to violate those values. All right. Now, I'm going to bring up a couple of our spouses and, future spouses that worked really hard to do something. All right. Now, like my wife worked really hard to get her marine biology degree. All right. And we sacrificed some stuff in Hawaii when we were stationed there. Right. Our relationship was real rocky. Right. And it was tough. All right. But that was a sacrifice. And she nailed it. She crushed it. All right. And we stuck together and we did that. All right. Dave's fiance, anybody who hangs out with Megan, all right, knows that she kills it in real estate. Absolutely freaking kills it. And when she came to visit one time, she was on her phone the whole time. So what is she sacrificing? All right. She's sacrificing some of the conversation. She's sacrificing good friends. All right. Good times. She's doing that. So what do you do as a good friend? All right. You understand that what she's doing and she's trying to be great at something. All right. So you don't sit there and bitch about that person being on the phone the whole time. All right. That person is trying to be great at something. You should support them. All right. You should give them 100% support. And it's tough because we're humans. We screw up. We get triggered, right? We get triggered about lots of things. But if somebody is trying to be great, why are you bringing them down? Why are you not understanding that they're sacrificing stuff? All right. I'm complaining about work a little bit here and there with my wife. And she brought up a good point the other day. She goes, why are they doing this to you? Don't they realize that when you were a first sergeant, like you were waking up at 4:30 in the morning and you weren't coming home till 9. Right. And it's like, we sacrifice our family. We sacrifice family time. We sacrifice a lot of things so that we can be great at our jobs. Now, if you find something's not going well in your life, it's because you're not willing to sacrifice something. And a big shout out to Anthony again for his sobriety and those that are being sober, right? That is a big flaw in a lot of people's lives.
Damn right.
Right. And like you're not good at something, you're not being great at something. Maybe sacrifice something, right? Put it down. Maybe it's 15 minutes of something. Maybe it's an hour or something. Maybe you don't want to be great at anything. That's fine too. But for the love of God, don't take other people down who are trying to be great. It is that simple. It really is. So if you want to be great at something, it's going to take sacrifice. Write it down. Write down what you're willing to sacrifice. All right. Are you willing to get yelled at all day by somebody because you're focusing somewhere else? Maybe you are. Maybe you're not. All right. So again, I got some back feed from somebody, so I'm probably Bill's who can't turn his camera on or whatever it is. I'll probably just kick him from the meeting. But hey, up for discussion, guys. Okay. Everybody has a chance to be great. Here's what I'm going to pose to you guys. You hear the word privilege, right? There are some poor ass white people. All right. There's some poor ass black people, right? The higher percentage of people in urban environments do have a tougher time. Okay. So look at the bell curve on Joe's head again. Those people on certain sides, all right, they're the ones fucking you. All right. The ones on the far right saying everybody's got a chance. All right. Fuck him. I worked hard. Okay. And then there's the other one on the left side that says, oh, it's not your fault. They have privilege. Okay? Privilege exists. 100% it does. Okay? There are people who have easier times to get where they want to get. That's a fact. Okay? But the word privilege is used as a form of slavery. All right? It's used to make you think that it's okay to quit. It's okay to not push it harder. It's okay to not sacrifice. Okay? Because you look at everybody who comes out of poverty, which I'm not one of them. I was never in poverty. Okay? When you look at somebody who came from poverty and you read their story, holy shit, did they sacrifice? All right? Their mom did, their dad did, their grandpa did. Somebody in that family line sacrificed a shit ton to get them where they needed to be. And you're going to come out and say privilege? It's okay. It's not your fault. Nah, they don't work that way. So that's what I bring to you guys. Like, how do you get to where you want to be? How do you get there? That's my discussion point for the last couple of minutes. Anybody got something to say?
Spot on, Nick.
You know what?
And failing is okay.
Honestly, I think one of the key things that's worked for me, especially when we started this, is one thing every single day that I really don't care to do or don't want to do, where I would normally put that off. That's like the first thing that I knock off the list, even if I can't stand doing it. But that to me is always a huge one to get to where you want to be. I mean, I don't even like the privilege thing. It doesn't even really move the needle for me as far as like me taking it personally, because I know anything that we have or anything that this family has, I know where it came from, so it doesn't usually rattle me when I hear it. I think it gets thrown around way too much and watered down quite a bit. I think it's usually one of the quicker things for someone to grab and throw out there is that someone's privileged, when it's kind of like saying Barry Bonds would have never hit a home run without steroids, type, that kind of talk. Like, dude, you don't just take steroids and become phenomenal at something.
You're going to trigger me, Joe, with that one.
Well, you don't just, you still got to work out. Is what I'm saying. Like, you can't just take a needle and be like, all right, well, now I'm huge and a great athlete. Like, you still have to.
Barry Bonds was a 40-40 guy when he weighed 190 pounds. All right. And people don't realize that Barry Bonds was still extremely athletic before he took HGH. Right?
Yeah. I mean, look, his game sacrificed things when he put on all that weight, because he knew those were the things that with old age, we're going to start to slow down. So he's like, all right, let's put on some bulk. Let's put on some rip. And did he do something against the rules? Of course, but you could go into GNC and pick out about 180 different things that would get you banned off of pro sports teams from GNC. So anyway, I don't know.
You're not going to make it.
It's like someone saying that he wouldn't have been this without steroids. It's like, come on, man. I mean, maybe the numbers might have changed, but it wouldn't have been like a total transformation.
If you're looking for privilege, it doesn't matter what you got between your legs, you're going to find it. Like, I can see privilege for a black guy just as well as he can see privilege for a white guy. But if you're using privilege as a reason to give yourself an excuse not to even get started, well, then you've already fucking failed. So what's your point? It doesn't matter if you have privilege or if you don't have privilege. There are plenty of guys, like I live close to Nashville, right? And people look up, again, like, Nick will tell you I'm a Southern guy from Alabama, right? But if I go down to Centennial Park, there's a statue down there and a giant thing about how, in 1870 something at the World's Fair that they had in Nashville, there was an entire area that the African-American business owners in Nashville, like, had pictures of all of them. They're all like these slick looking dudes in tuxedos. This is right after slavery, guys. This isn't like this year. We're not talking about Jay-Z. I'm talking about, Clarence from freaking 1860s that was a slave. And then, now he's in a tuxedo and they're building, like, they had their own freaking, like, arts festivals, like all this stuff that celebrated their own culture. Nobody told them they had privilege or they didn't have privilege. They just decided they wanted to do something. They wanted to be the best that they could be, no matter what obstacles were in the way. And they just fucking made it happen without using an excuse to say, well, I could have done it, but it's just like the guy, like we're all veterans. It's just like the guy that comes up to you goes, well, I could have joined the army, but I couldn't handle a drill sergeant yelling at me. No, bitch, you couldn't have handled any of it. And you wouldn't
have handled the discipline, period.
It doesn't matter. You that's your excuse for not doing it, but you never even tried to get started. So don't come at me with I would have done it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you wouldn't have gotten a college education. It doesn't matter if you were freaking purple. You still wouldn't have done it because you're too goddamn lazy, and you look for the very first thing that was like, maybe that's going to be hard. I won't do it. Same reason people don't go to ranger school. Same reason people don't go SF. Same reason people don't go to CAG. You know what I mean? It's all those same things. You know, I was at the pharmacy the other day. And sitting there waiting. No, dude, we'll talk about it after. Anyway, I was at the pharmacy the other day.
What the is that? What is that?
Turns out.
Too much fun on Tinder, man. Too much fun on Tinder.
It would be who of you to wait until after this show because I got a little bit of like some stuff. Got that tea. Anywho,
over here.
I'm just sitting there waiting. This kid walked up. He's like, "Hey, are you in 5th group?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Hey, I'm thinking about going to selection." And for the most part, if you find somebody that's in group, they're willing to talk to you about going to selection or whatever. But every time every time that subject comes up, these kids, these guys, they want to know the same thing. They basically want you to tell them you're going to make it or you're not going to make it. Well, I don't fucking know, bro. Like, I don't like, and I got told
embrace the ambiguity.
When you decide that you're there for a mission and you're going to finish it, regardless of how bad it is, how bad the weather is. When I went to selection, I was 36, 37 years old. There were plenty of dudes that physically were specimens, baller ass dudes, better than I was. But when we went out, and I was in the top, probably 1/3 of the class for the first week of selection, right? Then we went out to Land Nav. Well, it was frozen and rainy. Every time I'd come in at night, they had a fire. Every morning, they had a fire. If you quit, you could hang out by the fire. There were always these physical specimens that were just chilling by the fire. You're like, fuck, dude, that guy didn't make it. You just keep it moving until you went in there. And you would go get underneath your poncho and hang out for the rest of the day, freezing your dick off. And then you'd go back out and start again at midnight that night until 8 o'clock the next morning, walking around being frozen and cold. And you come back in and there's another dude that was a freaking athlete somewhere or, do whatever, but they couldn't handle mentally. They weren't tough enough because they gave themselves excuses to fucking leave, where the rest of us were just like, like this kid says, I heard the rucksacks are 45 pounds. Yeah, they may be 45 pounds in one place. I went to Robin Sage, my rucksack weighed 135 pounds. Yeah, that shit sucks. It doesn't matter who you are or what it hurts. It hurts, but it's going to be what it's going to be. Like when you decide in any phase of your life that A, you're going to take the first step because it's always the hardest, and B, that it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter how heavy it is. It doesn't matter what the temperature is. It doesn't matter who fucking tells you no. It doesn't matter. None of that shit matters. What matters is, am I going to fucking do it or am I not going to do it? Because if the answer is I'm going to fucking do it, I don't give a fuck who's there. It's going to happen. If
Facts.
The answer is I'm not going to do it, or maybe I'll quit, or maybe there's something else I could do, then I'm fucking not going to do it, and I'm going to suck because the very first time that anything happens that gets in my way, I'm going to go, well, there you go. Told you. Proven right. There's a fucking obstacle. I'm going to go home and fucking sit on my dick. Fucking
no, for sure,
buddy.
No, for sure.
Buddy, that was absolutely wonderful. But I think, listen, before you get out, one time, one time when you get that kid that comes up and he wants you to tell him whether he's going to make it or not, you have to like sit down and write it out. A little fucking routine that you put them through right there in the parking lot for your entertainment only. And be like, oh, okay, how many? Okay, let me check you out.
Yeah,
you know,
I see your
like,
NCOs do that every day, Joe.
How many jumping jacks do you do in 15 seconds? Like rock and roll. Let's go. You know, and then at the end, let them know whether he's gonna make it or not. Just for your own entertainment, just give them one.
Dude,
you know.
The funny thing is that the Army as a whole, especially for SF selection, did like this $1 million survey thing, and it was more than $1 million to figure out who they needed to recruit that would make it through SF selection and become an operator. And they figured out that you know what they figured out? They spent millions of dollars, and you want to know what they figured out in their little sweet algorithm? That if they found somebody that was young, athletic, and smart, they had a really good chance of making it through.
Wow!
selection.
Yeah, fucking genius.
Wait a minute, when did that come out? Because
Hey, Joe, let me.
Hear that.
There's a lot of studies like that go
incredible.
on, and you sit there and you read the whole fucking thing, and you're excited for this punchline that comes at the end, and it's like, fuck, man, really? That's what you spent millions of dollars on? That you needed a smart, athletic guy. So before Dave closes us out, there's a good points Buddy brought up about you got to do it, right? If you're going to sit there and blame other things, then it's not going to happen. And again, our page, Veteran Trash Talk, is to combat veteran suicide. Hands down. That's why we don't let political posts. We don't let the sexist post on there. We don't really care. Go somewhere else and post that shit. Go somewhere else, man. We don't give a shit. All right. We don't care if you like Biden. We don't care if you hate Biden. Don't give a flying fuck. All right. This is for us. This is
he fighting on the UFC 258 card? Then I don't fucking care.
Right. And so get those demons out. You got to want to do it. All right. And guess what? We are going to help you. But be very weary in your life of the guy that's already been there. It's like, I'm going to help you. All right. All right. You're the one that needs to go up to him. Find the winner. Go ask him how he did it, how she did it, and then do it your own way. Okay. So again, you have to do it. Go on our page, veterantrashtalk.com. Go on there. All right. Find our links. Watch our shows. All right. Come on our shows. Message us. We'll put you on. All right. If you need this kind of therapy, because this is therapy for us. If you need it, we'll talk about it. So again, it's for stopping veteran suicide. That's all it's for. All right. I say that's all. That means don't put any other bullshit on our page. We don't care. We really don't care. So again, over to you, Dave. Close us out, man. Got to enjoy our Saturday.
Absolutely. Hey, I think we lost Anthony. Where's he at? Hey, I just
he
want
left.
No, we lost him.
Thanks for sharing, Anthony. We got a little still on our show there for a second, but that's what we're all about. We really appreciate it. So thanks for Gruntworks for tuning in. Make sure you check us out on YouTube. All right. Hit that subscribe button. Give us a like. Let our community grow. Help us make our community grow so we can blow the fuck up, okay? Because that is our mission. Our mission is to end veteran suicide. We'll at least bring it below the national average, okay? Eventually, we're going to figure it the fuck out. Go to shopveterantrashtalk.com. All right? We got some awesome merch, all right? Remember, part of our proceeds go to Stop Soldier Suicide, okay? So you are donating to an amazing cause, okay? You're contributing to an amazing cause. Check us out on TikTok. Check us out on Instagram, Spotify, Apple Music. What else we got, Nick? We got it all. Twitter.
I don't know. Perry will yell at us because we didn't say the right platform.
Got it all.
Shit like that.
But hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in.
Ric Flair.
Check us out next Saturday. Have a good one. I'm out.
All right. See you, trash talkers.
Tonight's show is brought to you by Ventura Training and Athletics. Restore, train, maintain. Specializing in the restoration of the muscular system to help you move and feel better. Combating TBI, PTSD, and pain through specialized strength training. Again, get your body right, get your mind right, defeat the demons.